Alright, this is the walkthrough for my Sinatra assessment project. We're going to start here in the environment file. As you can see, we've got bundler set up. Bundler is required, and we're requiring everything from the app folder. The config RU folder we'll move on to next. We then see that we've got rack override used, the two model controllers used, users and teams, and we're running this application controller. You can see that I've got a leagues controller commented out. That was a part of my original build, which I've since commented out all of that in the hopes of version 2 including this that controller. So let's move on to the code itself. So we've got the application, we've got it configured, we've got sessions enabled, and a very secret code of unlockable. So that's going to allow for our cookies to persist and our database to have the same information that the user inputs. So then we're going to our index page immediately. As you can see, I've built the helper methods within the application folder, and that takes us to the teams controller. So actually, let's start at the users, because that's what we jump to right after we see the index page. We've got the sign up, the get method and the post method for sign up, which then confirms that the sign up data is complete. If it is not, then it takes us back to the sign up page. If also, you can see on the initial, it keeps the last user signed in under this get route, and that's pretty useful. I think just helps persist the data of the last user. So we create that user, as we can see, and we set the session user ID equal to the user ID that creates the sign up page, so then they stay signed in. If they need to sign in again, then we see this route here. This pretty much a similar idea as the sign up route. Then of course we have our logout, which destroys the session, and we'll see all that in action very shortly. And we've got the Teams controller. This one took me many hours to complete, and I think the first thing that you'll notice is that this line 16 is commented out. This was my original attempt at making sure that the teams were complete when they were built, and also that they were associated to the user ID. It didn't work out too well with this one, but then I was introduced to the build method, which then already creates the user ID for you, so you don't have to do anything extra. That helps a lot, I think, and that really sped some things up as I was finishing up these last few parts of the editing of the team and the deleting of the team. So as you can see, the rest of this is pretty straightforward. Brings us to the show page. Sorry, a bit of a distraction there. It brings you to the show page when you create the team, basically, and it assigns an ID to that team, and then ID is linked to the database. Then we have the edit route. We've got the patch, which this is where rack override, the method override, comes into play with these patch and deletes. Pretty straightforward stuff here. Just had to make sure that everything matched up with the team's team name, team mascot. It took me some time to figure out, but once I figured it out, it went pretty quickly. So we've got two models here. We've got the user model, which will have many teams, and it of course has a secure password, so that's going to encrypt the password. The team belongs to a user, and that's very important in the editing route, so that was a good choice on my end, I think. So let's check out the views from the layout. So we've included I've got a little bit of a body and a little bit of style here, which I had fun with. Not really critical to the overall functionality, but thought it looked good. And then this kind of gives us our breakdown of what page the initial user sees. So if they're logged in, then they're going to be able to see all the teams. And as you can see here, still got the leagues commented out. So they're going to be able to see all the teams, or they're going to be able to sign out or go to the home page. Then if they're not logged in, then we've got them able to log in or sign up. And then of course we have the yield method here, which then creates the layout for every single view that's going to be rendered. We've got this heading, this style to every single one of these view pages here, so I thought that was cool. Of course we've got our index, very simple, just a welcome page. Thought I could add a little bit more there, but ended up taking a lot of time with the rest of this stuff, so I did not. Alright, log in. Of course we've got our input fields and our submit button. This is going to persist the data. We've got some placeholders just for a little bit of style, and of course to create, we're going to mandate that they have a username, an email, and a password, and we've got the placeholder and a primary button of submit. Alright, so then let's start with index here. So once you sign in, which I'll give a demonstration after this, once you sign in, you've got the team list that's available. It's going to give you every team, and every team name is going to be a link to then take you to the show page, which I thought was nifty and a very cool thing. Also could potentially add some further details to these teams. But right now we've just got the team name, mascot, and colors. And of course at the very bottom we've got an option and a link to create a new team. Alright, so I guess we'll go to the new team after that. So the new team, you've got to input a name, mascot, colors, and as you saw in my team controller, this had a control that if one of those was missing, it would then not submit that team. You cannot create a team with bad data. And then we've got the show page, which then shows everything that you create. And it of course has a link that you can then edit that team, and within that edit page you then have the delete capability. So that's the basic application. We've got shotgun run here, so we will start it up and we'll look at it. Oh, not the page that I wanted. Bring it there. There we go. Alright, beautiful. Alright, so let's create a member. This will be user, very original, user@email.com. Well, let's see. If this is us trying to create a new user without a password in place. As you can see, it's going to take us to our sign up page again. There we are. User. Let's do it with, I think you get the idea. User@email.com. Password. Not very secure. Okay, so we should have some teams. I was playing around with it a little bit earlier. So we've got some teams created here. These are all teams that have been created by other users. So let's see if we can edit that data, which is extremely important to not be able to do. So this is our edit link, and as we can see on our team's controller, we should not be able to do that because we need the current user to equal, it's right here, apologies. We need the user ID to equal the current team's ID. So, as you can see, not the case. So let's create a new team, so then we'll be able to edit this team. This team is going to be the famous Bayern Munich. Their mascot is going to be pretzels because they're German. Red and blue, I guess. Mainly red. And there we are. Bayern Munich pretzels. Now let's take that slightly racist mascot and let's name them the Munichs. Oops. Well, that's going to delete the team. Didn't mean to do that. But that's going to show you that it is no longer there. All right, let's try that again. All right, let's do that. Let's do somebody else now. Let's do Paris FC. Mascot. Baguettes. Colors. Purple. That is purple. All right, so this is going to take us to the show page, which, as you saw before, has the edit link. And we are going to, first we're going to check out that it's there on all of the teams, which it will be. Paris FC, Baguettes. Let's click there. We've still got our link present at the bottom, which we can then edit this team. And we're going to name it Towers as their mascot. Almost did the delete team. Again. And there we go. So now we're going to sign out. And this should destroy our session. That's done. All right. Thank you for watching. That's the end of that.